and welcome to another edition of Issues with Jide. On this program, we talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our national landscape and how they impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Coming up on the show, federal government officially declares bandits as terrorists, MagodoLandDispute and the matters arising, and Lagos State government releases students, teachers accused of killing Sylvester Oromoni. I have joining me via Zoom Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, the maestro himself. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Ibrahim Shita.
Absolutely. So let's get the program started by looking at the declaration of terrorists by the federal government. The federal government has finally declared the activities of Yan Bindiga and Yan Tada and other similar groups as terrorists. You as an individual haven't really been convinced this will change anything, but do you think they've only made this to accede to the cause of Nigerians and by extension allowing them to properly deploy the newly acquired fighter jets?
Well, no one has said that we cannot use our ground attack helicopters, our drones, and other weapons, apart from the Tucanos, against bandits in the north central and the northwest and other parts of our country. To Nigerians that without the Tucanos, we cannot win the war against terror. It is a silly thing to continue to do, to continue to give the impression that only the Tucanos can guarantee us victory over the enemy. I disagree. And I will tell you that if we keep drones in the air, there are drones these days that can be airborne for more than 36 hours. These days, there are solar-powered drones, unmanned area vehicles. They actually do greater damage to these bandits because they home in on them without making any noise. So giving the impression that, oh, because we need to use the Tucanos against bandits in the northwest, therefore we must brand these guys as terrorists. But Nigerians will see that, and that is the argument that I've always made, that you cannot brand all bandits terrorists because some of the actions of bandits amount to terrorism, but not all actions of bandits amount to terrorism, at least if we are looking at the dictionary definition of terrorism. You cannot brand all bandits as terrorists. So now, where we are, I am saying that with the ground attack helicopters that we have, we can win this war. All that we need to do is to have the right strategy and launch this war at the same time. Not that you will be dealing with bandits in Sokoto and you will leave Zamfara alone. When we did that, they moved from Zamfara to Sokoto, and suddenly Sokoto became a big problem. So this is the thing. It is the strategy that we deploy. It is the commitment that we show. It is the honesty with which we approach the war that guarantees victory, not what we call the bandits. You can declare bandits terrorists and may still not win the war if you do not have the right approach. After all, we had declared Boko Haram a terrorist group since the Jonathan era. And up till now, we have not defeated them. Up till now, they still constitute so much nuisance to us. Up till now, they are still killing our soldiers. Up till now, they are still killing our civilians. So, And these terrorists is not the silver bullets that will guarantee that we win the war. And it is not by Tucano jets alone that you can win the war. Nigeria had fought wars in the past without Tucanos, and we achieved the desired results. We did not take Tucanos to Sierra Leone. We did not take Tucanos to Liberia. We went for peacekeeping in Lebanon. We went for peacekeeping in Angola. We were in the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon. We did not go with Tucanos. What kind of obsession is this? Now, when you want to declare a group, a terrorist group, you have to gazette it. The group must have a name. We all know that in the the Northwest, there are dozens and dozens of bandit groups without a name. We just know that, okay, this is the leader of the group. They don't have a name. Now, what the government has done is to bring two names. Two names. That's Mbindiga and the other group.
Right.
This is what I expected. This is what I knew would happen. You cannot just say you are declaring all bandits terrorists. Now we have now said, okay, two groups. And you and I know that the groups operating in the North Central and in the Northwest are more than two groups. So it's just a case of governments trying to just respond to what Nigerians wanted. Oh, Nigerians want them to be branded as terrorists, as if that is the silver bullet that will win the war. Okay, we declare them terrorists. So that is the thing. But they have now come to give you two groups. That these are the two groups that will be covered by law.
Right. In that case, BKO, do you agree with the Benue State Governor, Samuel Otom, who thinks the list of the gazetted terrorists would not be completed, will not be complete without adding Mieti Allah Kautahore, that's the Makban, another one, Makban, and the Fulani Nationality Movement, FUNAM, who have vowed and continue to cause mayhem in Benue State and other parts of the country because of the anti-open grazing laws. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I disagree with him.
Are you there, BKO?
What are we even talking about here?
Hello,
if the Magban committed any offense against the Nigerian state, then they should be prosecuted. They should be prosecuted for the crime that they have committed. Again, the obsession with branding groups, a terrorist group. See, if we, as I said before, if we go by the definition of a terrorist group, you must have an ideology. You must not be out. You must not be out to simply make money from what you do. You must have an ideology. Boko Haram is committed to the destruction of the Nigerian state, is committed to setting up a caliphate within the Nigerian Federation. That is a terrorist group. You know? So, but there's no way that you can say a group that is out to protect the interests of maybe Fulani nationalities is inherently a terrorist group. No. There could be some of them. I'm talking about Magban now. We have seen Magban even sit with government, especially in Ondo State, to try to find a solution to the farmer headers crisis. A terrorist group won't sit with you and be negotiating, searching for peace. But we saw them sit with Governor Akeredolu. So I disagree. Our politicians are full of emotions. Some of the things they say, you and I know that they say these things simply to draw the attention of people, simply to whip up sentiments. Things that Nigerians do not deserve to hear. You hear from our politicians because they want to draw attention to themselves. They simply want to kind of ruffle feathers within the system. So sometimes they are just better ignored.
Let's see. Let me one of the contributions from the social media platform. Sorry, from the YouTube comments. Are you there? Can you hear me? Great. Great. Fabian Akeze is saying every strategy deployed by the armed forces have failed woefully. So seek external help from nations that have fought terrorism. Is that what you also advise? Because it does appear that we have not really won the war, or we are not exactly winning the war against terrorism.
Help may be necessary. In fact, President Obasanjo once suggested that we needed to sit with the Sri Lankans and ask them how they were able to defeat terrorism in their country. Because the government of Sri Lanka fought against Tamil Tigers for 25 years. Tamil Tigers was a terrorist group, different from what we see bandits do here. Bandits are just after the money. Terrorist groups are not set up simply to look for money, kidnap people, and collect money from people. No. So, Obasanjo suggested that we should get in touch with the Sri Lankans, find out how they were able to win the war against terror in their country, because Tamil Tigers was defeated to the last man. And since that defeat, Tamil Tigers has not constituted any threat to the sovereignty of Sri Lanka. When you hear people say, oh, terrorism can't be defeated, this and that, it is people without a sense of history who will say things like that, because the Algerians defeated terrorism. When the Muslim Brotherhood won an election and the military regime, the military annulled it, they turned to terrorism. They were beheading journalists, beheading people all over the place. In the end, the army crushed them. The army crushed the group. And we've seen Sri Lanka to crush Tamil Tigers after more than 25 years of fighting. No one should come and tell us that you cannot defeat a terrorist group. We've seen the Iraqis, backed by American troops, defeat ISIS in Iraq. All of the communities that ISIS occupied in Iraq, including even oil-bearing communities, were taken back. No matter how big those communities were, Mosul, American troops provided support to Iraqi soldiers, and they defeated ISIS inside Iraq, chased them away from communities where they were constituting a nuisance. And the Americans didn't have to put boots on ground. They didn't have to even directly get involved in the war. They were providing tactical support. That's what they were doing. So in our own case, when we are talking about help could come in form of availability of weapons, making weapons available. It could also come in form of training for our troops. Because many people have said that our troops need serious training at this time.
Right, before we change tack.
So help can come in different dimensions.
Before we change tack, the help you're looking at should be that of either training or supplying of weapons, but not them coming on the ground to, to help us do away with these guys.
I have suggested in the past that it worked with Boko Haram in 2015, just before the election. We used military contractors. Some people try to like to call them mercenaries, but across the world, the use of military contractors is common, but they are not called mercenaries. We are the ones here who have refused to move with the times that are calling them mercenaries. They came here from South Africa, brought in weapons that we did not have in the inventory of the Nigerian forces, and used those weapons to push Boko Haram out of communities that they occupied in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states. We also had Chadian soldiers on ground. Chadian soldiers were given some parts of Borno North, and Chadian soldiers quickly took back communities that Boko Haram occupied in some parts of Borno North. So I do not oppose even bringing Chadian troops into our country, because we brought them before and we achieved the desired results. Yes, the Chadians lost so many of their soldiers, but we achieved the desired result, and we were able to hold elections in 2015. All the major local governments that Boko Haram had captured from Nigerian forces, we were able to recapture before Goodluck Jonathan left office. This is a fact. This is a fact. And students of history can even consult Google to say, okay, when was Goza recaptured? You will see that Goza was recaptured at so time.
Right.
Before the election.
Right, BKO. Yeah.
But many of us think that those communities were recaptured after President Buhari came to office. That's not true. The communities were recaptured before President Buhari came to office.
Makes sense.
And I'm saying this not just as an analyst of military affairs, but as a historian.
Yeah. Thanks.
That this is what happened. All the major towns were recaptured before President Buhari came into office. And we used so-called mercenaries, we used Chadian troops to make that happen. So if possible, why shouldn't we use them even now?
Makes sense. Thanks for setting the record straight.
Have we not, even our country, because this is an important thing, Nigerian troops have laid down their lives to bring peace to other countries, to bring peace to Lebanon, bring peace to Angola, bring peace to Sierra Leone, bring peace to Liberia. So what is wrong in other people even coming here to fight, help us secure our country, even sacrifice their own lives, as we have sacrificed the lives of our soldiers in other countries? Do you know how many thousands of soldiers we lost in Liberia and Sierra Leone alone?
Yeah. BKO, thank you very much for setting the record straight. We will come back to that, but we need to change tack because we still have about 2 topics to discuss. Let's go to our neighborhood here, Magodo and the land disputes. The Lagos State government, as well as the Magodo Residents Association, has promised to provide 549 plots of land to Shangisha landlords following the uproar by the estate residents about the policemen who besieged the estate for several days. So what has been your general impression about the situation surrounding these properties?
Yes, I'm happy that we are nearing some form of resolution of this matter. This is a matter that had been there since 1984. If people do not push for their rights will not be delivered to them by the elites, by our leaders. This is what we have seen. If you promise to develop an area, build hospitals, build this, build that, if you said government was going to use a piece of land, and you told the people to vacate the piece of land, and you then went on to sell such land to civil servants and your friends, then people deserve to take you to court. And that is what we have seen. Now, having won their case at the Supreme Court is the final court of our country. No one has the rights, no one has the power to go against the judgment of the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court is saying, look, provide alternative land to these people in Magodo, and if not possible in Magodo, then find land for them elsewhere. The judgment of the Supreme Court was a good one, because it reasoned that you may not be able to find enough plots for these judgment creditors within Magodo. And he said you could find for them elsewhere. Now, government, through the New Town Development Agency, is going to come up with alternative plots of land for these litigants. And within Magodo, government can find some plots that they could give out. But the truth is, what they have in Magodo would not be enough for more than 400 claimants to pieces of land in that area. So government has to sit with these people and find alternatives. So if successive Lagos governments had behaved in the right way, we would not have found ourselves in this mess. People attack the Attorney General, but I've not seen what the Attorney General has done that is wrong. As the chief law officer of our land and the most senior minister in the cabinet, is just trying to affirm the primacy of the place of the Supreme Court. He's just trying to show us that, look, we cannot disobey the judgment of the Supreme Court. That's what is done. So now you can see that Governor Sanwo-Olu, apparently after consulting with other people, including former governors of Lagos State, has now taken the right decision. Go find them land somewhere else and within Magodo. I know that it will cost a lot of money to develop even that part of Magodo that they could be given, because what we have left are some places that are swampy and all that. But you need to create some form of drainage and make the place good enough for these guys to use. Once you're able to do that, the matter will die a natural death.
Okay, BKO,
and
we have it in good authority. We have it in good authority. Yes. When their chairman, the Landlord Association, was speaking with one of our correspondents, who said that they are not likely to accept any land anywhere short of that which is on Magodo. So I don't know, what would you be thinking, or what would you suggest, regarding this? And Fabian Akinze also says, how will the Lagos State government distribute 594 plots of land to the rightful heirs to also prevent internal crisis? So one thing is for them to get back what they claim, what is rightfully theirs, and another thing is to, avoid internal crisis over, so how do we share it?
Well, I'm happy that the fellow that you were quoting said they are not likely. He is one person. All of them want a resolution of this matter. Government has offered an outlet out of this problem. So they've got to just listen to government and accept what the government has to offer. You are not going to expect government to start demolishing people's houses so that you can take over their landed property. That's not going to happen. The area is extremely built up. So they can't say that anything short of Magodo, because you have to look at the judgment. What did the judgment say? The judgment provided alternative that you should give them in Magodo, or where you cannot, give them somewhere else. So this is the thing. If the Supreme Court does not say you must give them this, because a lot of our people will not even read the judgment before making all kinds of suggestions. And if you are negotiating in this case, you have to be flexible. This is a complex matter, and government is trying to find a way around it, find a way to solve the problem. So the judgment creditors must also be reasonable and ask themselves, look, If we don't accept this, what then happens? The matter will go on. The matter will go on, and it will even lead to breakdown of law and order. That's not what we want to see. After NSAS, we don't want to see anything that puts the peace of Lagos in jeopardy.
Right. So, Mark Oyaide is saying that through federalism, state land should disputed or should be disputed in a state court, and enforcement should be carried out by the state police. The disrespect to the governor was not good to see. Okay, I think this person is trying to say, is advocating, regionalism, and then also frowning at the fact that a superintendent of police disobeyed the chief security officer of the state.
There is no such thing as a governor being chief security officer. They are deceiving themselves by calling themselves chief security officer. I have said before that they are chief security logistics officers. All they do is provide vehicles, provide some of the things that the police and the army need to patrol our streets. They are not chief security officers. The policeman in question does not report to the governor. It's not the governor that pays his salary. So why were they expecting him to take instructions from a man that he does not report to? We have to look at the reporting line. He will report first to maybe his DPO, yeah, and then the area commander, and then the commissioner of police in the state, who reports to the IG. So the guy did nothing wrong, and he was very polite. Right. What is the disrespect? That he should simply take the instruction of the governor. Is he the one who pays his salary? Does he report to him? Until we have true federalism and we have state police, this sort of thing cannot happen.
Okay, BKO.
I've seen a former governor of Bayelsa say that police commissioners, more than 10 police commissioners, were transferred in quick succession in his state, and nobody even gave him the honor of being told the reason why they were transferring those police commissioners. Commissioner of police in the state does not report to the governor. Yes, you can have security meetings with the governor, but it's not your boss. That is the way it is by the constitution of our country at this time. Until we do something about that constitution, this sort of thing will keep happening, and there's nothing the governor can do to a policeman who refuses to take his orders.
Right. We are pressed
because he has.
We are pressed for time, BKO. Let's just go to the final topic. We'll revisit all of these things.
You people are provoking me to answer some questions, and I'm just responding.
They are very pertinent. But then, because of our time,
okay.
5 students and 5. Our last topic. 5 students and 5 employees of Dowen College, Lekki, linked to the death of Sylvester Oromoni, have been freed as police, the Lagos state government, and the school maintained that Oromoni died naturally. But the parents insist they won't bury their son, even if it takes 30 years to get justice. It doesn't appear this matter would be laid to rest anytime soon, BKO.
Yes, and I'm truly embarrassed. You see, in our country, certain things happen that just make you to wonder and ask the question, why are we like this? There was an autopsy that was conducted, and the report came out December 10. That autopsy was conducted in Delta State. And it was that autopsy that said that he drank poisonous substance. That autopsy also said he suffered injury, around the lungs. So that autopsy would make one believe that this boy was actually a victim of murder, even if it is involuntary murder, just murder. Then after that autopsy, the stakeholders called for a toxicology report. The toxicology report then affirmed that he was not poisoned. Then a second autopsy was requested. Since they could not achieve unanimity within the stakeholders, a second autopsy. It is that second autopsy now saying, look, this boy was not a victim of bullying, he was not a victim of poisoning, and he's saying that, look, he died a natural death, and that his lungs, the second autopsy says that he suffered liver, heart, lungs damage arising from an injury in his ankle, meaning that his body organs were infected as a result of an injury that he suffered. Now, this second autopsy had the military in attendance, had the police in attendance, had the UCH represented by his pathologist, and the pathologist who conducted the first autopsy was also a witness to the second autopsy. So the question now is, who is saying the truth? We have two autopsies now. Two autopsies saying two different things, only in our country. So, given this situation and the quickness with which establish no prima facie case of involuntary murder or manslaughter can be pinned against the 8 persons who are detained. Then the police proceeded to immediately release these people. So the question is, who is saying the truth? I believe that this matter cannot end at this point. And I would advise the Lagos State government not to hurriedly open that school. All these doubts, all these issues must be cleared before the school is reopened, so that people don't go to that school and turn it to a protest ground. Let all these matters be cleared. Let the truth be laid bare for everyone to see before we can say, okay, let us open this school, you know.
Right.
But I still think that, look, that some people are not saying the truth.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like to me.
Yeah. BKO.
Two autopsies saying two different things.
Very incongruent. Fabian Akeze, Fabian Akeze said, sorry, Olushola Julius says, BKO, that medical report from the police honestly is not acceptable. BKO, can we trust the Nigeria police and his handlers? And I'll join his comment with that of Fabian Akeze, who is asking, what happened to the National Assembly, saying that no stones would be left unturned? Why are they silent?
See, I remember on Journalist Hangout, one of my senior colleagues was saying, yes, this time around, we are certain that there will be justice. I said, gentlemen, take it easy. You can't be sure that there will be justice. Let's just be patient. There's a philosopher who said time is a gentleman. Let's just be patient. Let's wait for time to unravel the things that we do not already know. You see, when these things happen, you see the National Assembly, they will stand on the rooftops and be promising brimstone and court girls and all that. At the end of the day, What have we seen? Because it mandated his committee on women, youth and women affairs to conduct an investigation on this matter. This matter began to rumble around December 2nd. Up till now, we do not have anything close to a resolution. So we have to challenge the National Assembly to do something. You can see that Sylvester's father has even appealed to President Buhari to step in, that he is certain that Lagos state government officials are bent on sabotaging the investigation, which is the point that his lawyer to Falana is making. I think at the federal level, we need maybe a third opinion or a second opinion so that we can get to the root of this matter, because we will not
BKO, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is where we call it a wrap, because we're already on our 35 minutes. You have something to say?
Yeah, just looking at my time now.
Do you have anything to say? We should just go.
Yeah, I like the energy today. Today, clearly one of the best that we've done in recent times. I like the energy, and you see, we want a better country, and that is why we speak the way we speak. We are anxious to see that better country happen in our time. That's what we deserve.
Makes sense.
Peace. Let's have the bandits defeated. Let's have the matter of Sylvester resolved in a manner that the truth will be clear to everyone. The truth won't be shrouded. It should be clear to everyone that yes, indeed, this is what happened. And neighborhood, the Lagos state government officials and the Attorney General of the Federation must find a way to come together and say this is where we are headed, and we are about to resolve this matter. So, man,
whoa,
have that matter resolved in a manner that pleases the generality of the residents as well as the judgment creditors. That's where I leave it today.
Right. Thank you very, very kindly, BKO. And that's our show for today's edition, Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those insightful analyses, as you've always done. Really appreciate. And thanks to you to our audience for joining us on every edition. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.